You know, when you're walking down a city street and you pass a courtyard, a residence inn, and a Fairfield Inn, all on the same block, you might wonder how they're all competing. Well, what if I told you they're not really competing at all? Let's dive into what's really going on behind the scenes in the hotel world. So, picture this. You're in a big city, doesn't matter where. You see a courtyard, then a residence inn, maybe a Fairfield Inn right across the street. You know the scene.
They all have different signs, probably different prices, so you figure they're all fighting for your business, right? Well, here's the twist. All three of those hotels belong to Marriott. And this isn't some weird coincidence. Nope, it's a very, very smart and powerful business strategy. And that strategy creates something we can call the hotel illusion. It feels like you have this endless choice of brands, but in reality, you're often just picking between different doors that all lead back to the same couple of giant companies.
I mean, just how similar are these so-called competitors? Okay, let's take a look at two Marriott brands, TownePlace Suites and Residence Inn. Both are for longer stays, both are in that same mid-range price point, both have full kitchens, pools, gyms, you get the idea. The biggest difference, really? The Residence Inn has a bar. That's pretty much it. You could be in either one and have no clue which is which. So that begs the question, why on earth would you create two brands that are practically identical? Well, to understand that, we need to rewind a bit and look at this huge revolution that completely changed the hotel industry, turning these companies from real estate empires into branding machines.
See, back in the day, it was simple. If you stayed at a Marriott, Marriott owned the building. They hired the staff. They ran the whole show. That all started to shift after World War II, thanks to a guy named Kemmons Wilson, who after a miserable family road trip got so fed up with bad motels that he started the Holiday Inn franchise. But even that was just the warm-up act. The real revolution, that happened a lot more recently. And it's all about this idea, the asset-light business model. The big hotel giants had a realization. Owning billions of dollars of property all over the world, it's expensive, it's risky, and it's slow. So they looked around and took a page from companies like Uber and Airbnb. Uber doesn't own cars, right? Airbnb doesn't own houses. And as you're about to see, Marriott doesn't really own hotels. And just how far have they taken this? Well, check this out. Today, Marriott and Hilton each own less than 1% of the hotels with their names on the front. Let that sink in. Less than 1%. They have almost totally cashed out of the real estate game to focus on just one thing: selling their brand name. So, of course, this leads to a pretty obvious question, right? If Marriott doesn't own the building and isn't running the place, who is? The modern hotel ecosystem really has three main players. First, you've got the brand. That's your Marriott, your Hilton. They're selling the sign out front, the fancy website, and all the marketing. Then you have the owner, who's usually some massive real estate company you've never heard of. They own the actual brick-and-mortar building and handle the day-to-day. And then there's you, the guest, standing right there in the middle of it all. And here's something that might really surprise you. That person who checks you in at the front desk, the housekeeping staff, even the hotel's general manager, they almost certainly do not work for Marriott. Nope, they're employees of the owner, that company that actually holds the deed to the property. So here's how the money flows. The owner keeps all the cash you spend on your room. But in exchange for getting to put that shiny Marriott sign out front and use all their systems, they have to pay Marriott a franchise fee. And that's usually somewhere between 5 and 15% of the hotel's total revenue. So you might be wondering, what are these owners getting for that pretty hefty fee? Why would they pay millions of dollars just to fly the Hilton or Marriott flag on their building? Well, it all comes down to the brand's playbook. These brands bring three super powerful tools to the table that an independent hotel just couldn't dream of having. First, they have incredibly sophisticated pricing software that can change room rates by the minute. Second, they have huge leverage with booking sites like Expedia. But their biggest, most important weapon of all, you guessed it, their massive loyalty programs. So let's talk about that pricing. You know, when Taylor Swift announces a concert in your city, the hotel rates for miles around can instantly double or triple. That's dynamic pricing. The brand's systems are constantly adjusting prices to squeeze every last dollar out of the market. As one hotel owner said, if you were going to book at $199 and now it's $249, well, you should have booked it. Those prices are fleeting.
But the real killer app, the secret sauce, is the loyalty program. And the scale here is just mind-boggling. Marriott Bonvoy and Hilton Honors each have over 180 million members. That is an absolutely enormous built-in base of customers that hotel owners are paying a fortune to get access to.
These loyalty programs are the engine that makes the whole thing run. They're the connective tissue that ties a budget-friendly Fairfield Inn to a super luxury Ritz-Carlton. The points basically become their own kind of currency. You earn them on a work trip to a small town, then you spend them on that dream vacation to Miami. It's why you don't see ads for specific hotels anymore. You see ads for Bonvoy, and the cherry on top, they make billions from co-branded credit cards. It's brilliant.
Okay, so that's the business side of it. We see how it works for the brands and the owners. But let's bring it back to you. What does all this mean when you're the one actually trying to book a room for your next trip?
Well, a lot of it depends on what kind of hotel you're staying at. Most of what they call select service hotels, your Courtyards, your Fairfield Inns, places with fewer bells and whistles, those are franchised. But when you get to the really high-end, luxury hotels, like a W Hotel or an Edition, the brand itself often steps in to manage the property directly. Why? Because they want to control every single detail of that top-tier premium experience. And this gets us back to why there are so many darn brands in the first place. A former CEO of Marriott called it creating swim lanes. A Courtyard is for one kind of trip. A trendy Moxie hotel is for another. A Ritz-Carlton is for that special anniversary. Each brand is aimed at a specific person or a specific need, but the goal is always the same. No matter what you're doing, they want to keep you under the giant umbrella of their loyalty program. So the next time you're scrolling through what looks like an infinite list of hotel brands, you'll know the secret strategy that's happening just beneath the surface. Yeah, you've got more logos to choose from than ever before, but they're all flowing back to just a handful of these massive flag families, which leaves you with one last question to think about. Is all that choice actually real?